Hi, this is Roger Michaels from my own little kitchen. Today I'll be making stuffed cabbage. It's not that difficult to make, just takes a little bit of time. Stay with me and learn how to make it. Fall and colder weather brings out heartier foods, and one that's very popular here in Northeast Ohio is stuffed cabbage rolls. So we have a lot of Eastern European women who come in and buy the winter cabbage. You'll say, what's the difference between winter cabbage and regular cabbage? As you can see, this is a very large cabbage. It's a little bit thicker than summer cabbage, and that's why it's great for using to wrap things up with. If you remember yesterday, I put this in the freezer and I froze it overnight. One of the ways of making cabbage rolls is you have to boil it. You have to put it in water and the outer leaves fall out. Then you have to take the hot leaves and let them cool and all that kind of stuff. This way it's pretty easy. Freeze it, take it out, let it thaw, and the leaves just peel right off and they're flexible enough. So no boiling, no burnt fingers, no hot steam. And this is how easily it peels off. You just have to make sure to take it out long enough for it to thaw out enough to get as many leaves as you need. Now the recipe I'm doing calls for about 10 leaves. These are awfully big leaves. I might cut them in half. Otherwise, you're going to have all cabbage and no stuffing. So in the bowl, I have 1 pound of ground meat. I like to use the 80-20 uh, mix. It's 80% beef, 20% fat. I just think it's juicier and more flavorful than like the 95-5. So to this, I will add 4 ounces of mushrooms that are chopped, not too fine, because you want to taste them in the meat. For today, I'm using portobello. You can use 4 ounces of canned mushrooms. You can use white mushrooms, but 4 ounces is about what you want. And here I have a half cup of chopped onion. Again, not too fine because you want to be able to taste it and feel it. There's a mouth feel that this size gives you. And I also have a half cup of uncooked rice. I have a teaspoon each of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Now, there's many different recipes. Some call for additional paprika. They might call for onion powder. They might call for different kinds of uh, seeds, like caraway seeds or things like that. This is the one I use. And now what I'm going to do is this recipe that I have here calls for tomato sauce. Another recipe that I have calls for condensed tomato soup. I like this better. So I'm going to put in a couple tablespoons of the condensed soup. It's tomato soup. It can be any kind, but you don't want to water it down. This is just to moisten it. And you want to take your time and mix this well so that you don't have pockets that don't have any seasoning. So I did cut the leaves in half. This is half a leaf, so you can imagine how big that cabbage roll would have been. You would have had a lot of cabbage and not that much stuffing. So now you want to stuff each cabbage leaf with about a half cup of the beef filling. And you want to roll it over and fold up the ends. And you place it seam side down on your prepared pan. Go this way. If you wonder why I keep flipping these over, is there's a natural curve to the leaves, so I'm trying to work with it to make it easier to roll. There we go. I think we're only going to do 8 instead of 10, because these leaves are so big that I overstuffed them. And that's going to be just enough to fill this roasting pan. Let me get rid of this. So now, in the leftover soup we have, I'm going to combine 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to stir that up to loosen it up a little bit. So now you can see it's a nice liquidy, spreadable, horrible consistency. I'm going to spoon some on each of the cabbage rolls. Try to cover them as much as possible. Okay. And I have a little bit left, so I'll just randomly drizzle it on places I think I missed, or that might need a little more. And now you cover it with foil, not plastic wrap, because you're putting it in a hot oven. And you want to cover it as tightly as possible because you want it to steam because of the natural liquid that's in cabbage and the additional liquid that we added with the soup, as you'll see when we take off the foil, which will be in about an hour. So into the preheated oven, it's preheated to 350, and we'll put this in here for an hour. And we should have really good cabbage rolls by then. I'll go ahead and set the timer, and we're done. All right, it's been an hour. I've taken the cabbage rolls out. I can see steam escaping from between the foil. So let's take a look. Yeah, baby. You can see they're cooked through. Um, it's created juice. Some people like to take the juice, boil it down, add a little, add a slurry of cornstarch with a little bit of water, and then add that to the pan to make a thicker sauce to go over this. I don't think there's quite enough juice for me to do that with, so I'm not going to bother. But again, it's an option if you want to. Let me take, I'll take a small one out here. Let me get a knife, fork, and definitely a napkin. See the love. It's great. I don't make this very often, maybe once or twice a year. And each time I ask myself, why don't you make this more often? I know it's going to be hot, but I'm not waiting. Mmm, very tasty, great mouthfeel. The rice is done. The cabbage is soft. The meat and the stuffing is very flavorful. I'll be making it more often. Trust me on that. This is Roger Michaels. Thank you so much for joining me while I made stuffed cabbage. And welcome to my own little kitchen. Until next time.